My friends, the world you see is not separate from you. Every person you encounter, every interaction you experience, is simply a reflection of your own consciousness. The so-called demons you perceive in friends and family are not external forces attacking you. They are manifestations of what you accept as true within. The people around you are not separate from you. They are extensions of your own consciousness, reflecting back to you the state of your inner world. Every interaction you have, every relationship you engage in, is shaped by the beliefs, assumptions, and emotions you carry within. When you encounter love and kindness, it is because somewhere within you have accepted that love is a natural part of your experience. When you face betrayal, hostility, or deception, it is not because the world is against you, but because on some level you have entertained these fears or expectations. Others can only treat you in ways that align with the frequency you hold. Many believe that people behave randomly or act according to their own independent will, but this is an illusion. Every individual you meet, especially those closest to you, play a role in the grand drama of your life. They appear as reflections of the thoughts and feelings you persistently dwell upon. If you assume that others will misunderstand you, you will continually attract situations where you feel unheard or misrepresented. If you believe that no one truly supports you, you will encounter individuals who seem indifferent or unreliable. These experiences are not coincidences. They are manifestations of your inner assumptions shaping the external world. Consider the relationships that bring you the most frustration. Is there a recurring pattern? Do you often find yourself in friendships where you feel used? Do you experience family members who seem to dismiss your value? These patterns are not merely habits of others, but are signs pointing toward an inner belief that you may not have consciously acknowledged. The mind, whether consciously or unconsciously, is always creating. The moment you accept something as true, it begins to take form in your reality. Look at the people who uplift and support you. They exist in your life because at some level you have accepted the idea that you are worthy of love and encouragement. When you truly believe that you are valued, you will encounter individuals who reflect that belief. The world is a mirror, and it does not offer experiences that contradict what you hold to be true about yourself and others. This is why two people can walk into the same environment and have completely different experiences. One person might feel welcomed and appreciated, while another might feel ignored and rejected. Their external realities are shaped by their internal states. Many try to change their external circumstances without first addressing their inner assumptions. But this is like trying to change a reflection in a mirror without altering the original image. You cannot force people to treat you differently while still holding the belief that you are unworthy or unwanted. If you wish to experience respect, you must first assume that respect is a natural and inevitable part of your life. If you desire deeper connections, you must believe that meaningful relationships are already yours. The moment you shift your inner world, the outer world will rearrange itself to match your new state. Even those who appear as adversaries are playing a role in the script of your consciousness. The difficult boss, the unfaithful partner, the jealous friend, they are all responding to some aspect of your belief system. This does not mean that you are to blame for the way others act, but rather that you hold the power to change the dynamic by shifting your own assumptions. When you no longer accept betrayal as a possibility, those who would have betrayed you either change or remove themselves from your life entirely. When you embody confidence, the people who once sought to diminish you lose their influence over your emotions. It is not about trying to control or manipulate the people around you. It is about realizing that they can only act in ways that align with the assumptions you hold. If you believe that someone is deceptive, they will find ways to confirm that belief. If you assume that someone is trustworthy, they will rise to meet that expectation. or they will fade from your experience, making space for someone who does. The shift does not occur through force, but through internal transformation. Many resist this idea because it places full responsibility on the individual. It is easier to believe that others are simply bad or that life is unfair. But the moment you recognize that your assumptions are shaping your interactions, you reclaim your power. You no longer have to fear the actions of others because you understand that they are simply mirroring what you have accepted within. You do not need to seek revenge, argue, or prove yourself. You only need to shift your perception and allow the external world to follow. The key is awareness. Observe your relationships without judgment. Recognize the repeating themes, the familiar struggles, and the patterns that seem to persist. Instead of seeing them as problems, view them as reflections of your inner world. Ask yourself, what belief must I be holding for this experience to keep appearing in my life? What assumption do I need to release? What new truth must I embrace? The answers to these questions hold the key to transforming not only your relationships, but your entire reality. Every person you meet, every conversation you have, every emotion stirred within you is an invitation to see yourself more clearly. When you understand this, you no longer react to people as though they have power over you. You no longer see relationships as unpredictable or chaotic. Instead, you recognize that everything is responding to the state you occupy. Change that state, and the people around you will reflect the new image you hold. The idea of demons has long been misunderstood. Many believe them to be external forces, entities that roam the earth, seeking to destroy, manipulate, and harm. They envision them as shadowy figures lurking in dark corners, whispering lies into the ears of the unsuspecting. But what if these so-called demons are not outside of us at all? What if they are not creatures of the night, but rather the silent forces within our own consciousness, shaping our perceptions, controlling our reactions, and dictating the way we experience life? These forces do not attack from the outside. They rise from within, feeding off the fears, doubts, and insecurities that we allow to take root in our minds. Every fear, every doubt, every limiting belief is a form of opposition within. When a person constantly experiences betrayal, they may assume that the world is full of deceivers, but the real deception is the assumption itself. The belief that betrayal is inevitable is the very force that attracts it. The so-called demons manifest as experiences in individuals who mirror this internal state. The person who believes they will be abandoned will find themselves in relationships where abandonment is a constant theme. The one who assumes others will take advantage of them will continue to meet people who seem to exploit their kindness. This is not because an external entity has placed these people in their path, but because the energy of their own assumptions shapes the reality they live in. The unseen forces influencing human behavior are not foreign invaders. They are the result of conditioning, self-perception, and deeply ingrained mental patterns. A person filled with anger sees the world through a lens of hostility. A person consumed by jealousy assumes others are plotting against them. A person burdened by guilt expects punishment and unconsciously attracts situations that reinforce their belief in suffering. These states of mind act as invisible forces that govern interactions, alter outcomes, and create cycles of negativity. The demons people speak of are the projections of their own unresolved fears, their own unhealed wounds, taking form in the actions of others. Observe the people around you. Those who seem to operate with malice, deceit, or cruelty are not under the control of some dark entity. They are controlled by their own inner world. The person who manipulates is acting from a place of fear, believing they must control others to survive. The one who spreads lies is influenced by their own insecurity, believing that truth would expose their unworthiness. These behaviors are not driven by supernatural forces, but by deeply embedded states of mind that have gone unchallenged. The so-called demonic actions we witness in others are reflections of the pain, confusion, and unconscious beliefs they carry. It is easy to look outward and blame external forces for the negativity we encounter. But that perspective only reinforces the illusion that we are powerless. The more we believe in external demons, the more we give them form. The more we assume that darkness is attacking us, the more we unconsciously create situations where we feel attacked. The true battle is never with an outside enemy, it is within. The moment a person ceases to believe in deception, deceivers lose their power over them. The moment a person stops accepting manipulation as part of their reality, manipulators fade from their experience. The forces that seem to oppress and hinder are only as real as the belief in their existence. What we call demons are not separate from our own consciousness. They are the projections of what we have accepted as true. A person who believes in scarcity will live in a world where lack is evident everywhere. A person who sees themselves as unworthy will continuously meet people who reinforce that perception. These are not punishments, nor are they the work of unseen entities conspiring against us. They are the natural expressions of the states we hold within. The more one fights against these external reflections, the stronger they seem to become. But the moment a person realizes that they hold the power to change their assumptions, the so-called demons begin to dissolve. This understanding is difficult for many to accept because it removes the comfort of blaming an external force. It demands self-reflection, accountability, and a willingness to confront the shadows within. It is far easier to believe that evil is something that exists outside of us, rather than to accept that it is something we, through our thoughts and assumptions, have allowed to exist in our experience. But true power lies in understanding that nothing outside of us has control over our reality. We are not at the mercy of unseen enemies. We are the creators of the world we live in. If one wishes to rid themselves of the demons they see in others, they must first rid themselves of the beliefs that invite those demons into their world. The more one aligns with love, the less they encounter hatred. The more one assumes peace, the less they experience conflict. The so-called darkness in others cannot exist in a world where it is not recognized. And the moment a person stops looking for demons outside of themselves, they cease to find them at all. Every experience in life is shaped by the assumptions you hold, whether you are aware of them or not. These assumptions act as the unseen architects of your reality, constructing the people, events, and circumstances that appear before you. From the moment you wake up, the beliefs you carry determine how the day unfolds. If you assume the world is against you, you will see evidence of opposition everywhere. If you assume you are loved and supported, kindness and opportunities will seem to find you effortlessly. The outer world is not random. It is a reflection of the inner world you have accepted as true. Many believe that reality exists independent of their thoughts, but this is an illusion. The mind is a projector, and the world is the screen upon which your beliefs are displayed. When you expect struggle, struggle appears. When you anticipate betrayal, people show up to betray you. These events do not happen by chance. They are summoned by the state of consciousness you occupy. Every moment, whether consciously or unconsciously, you are assuming something about yourself, about others, and about life itself. These assumptions are not passive thoughts. They are commands that the universe obeys without question. A person who assumes they are always overlooked will find themselves constantly ignored, no matter how much they try to be seen. Someone who assumes money is difficult to obtain will encounter endless obstacles to financial success. These are not accidents, but rather the outpicturing of deep-seated beliefs that operate beneath the surface. The world has no choice but to reflect back what you accept as true. It does not argue, it does not challenge, it does not impose its own will. It simply mirrors, without fail, the assumptions that dominate your consciousness. Consider two individuals walking into the same room. One assumes they are well-liked and respected. The other assumes they are unwelcome and out of place. Though they stand in the same environment, their experiences will be entirely different. The first will be greeted with warmth, engaging in pleasant conversations. The second will feel excluded, noticing every small gesture that confirms their belief of being unwanted. The room has not changed, only their assumptions have. Yet those assumptions dictate the reality they each perceive. This is the silent power at work in every moment, shaping the world in accordance with what is held within. It is not enough to simply wish for a better experience while holding on to assumptions that contradict it. A person who wants love but assumes they are unworthy of it will find themselves in relationships that mirror that unworthiness. A person who desires success but assumes they are destined to fail will sabotage their own opportunities without realizing it. The external world is not here to grant wishes. It is here to reflect certainty. Whatever you are certain about, whether good or bad, will take form in your life. Many try to force reality to change without first changing their assumptions, but this is futile. It is like attempting to alter the reflection in a mirror without changing the image in front of it. The mirror does not distort the truth, it only reveals what is already there. If you wish to see a different reflection, you must first assume a different identity within. This is the key that unlocks transformation. For once an assumption is fully accepted, reality has no choice but to conform to it. Look at your life and identify the recurring themes that seem to persist no matter what you do. These patterns are not coincidences. They are evidence of the assumptions you have made, whether consciously or unconsciously. If you continue to experience the same disappointments, the same struggles, and the same betrayals, it is because somewhere within you have assumed them to be inevitable. Until that assumption changes, the pattern will continue, not as a punishment, but as a reflection of what you have accepted as truth. The moment you shift your assumption, the world begins to shift with it. People, events, and circumstances will rearrange themselves to fit your new state of being. It does not require force, manipulation, or external effort. It only requires a deep, unwavering acceptance of a new reality. The world does not shape you, you shape the world, and the assumptions you hold are the foundation upon which your life is built. People often place too much emphasis on words, believing that what someone says holds the ultimate truth. They listen to promises, apologies, and explanations, hoping that words alone will reveal a person's true nature. But words are fleeting, easily manipulated, and often spoken without sincerity. It is not words that shape reality, but the patterns behind them. A person may say they have changed, but if their actions repeat the same destructive cycles, the words mean nothing. A friend may promise loyalty, but if their behavior consistently shows betrayal, their words hold no weight. To truly understand the people around you, you must look beyond what they say and recognize the patterns they live by. Patterns are the unspoken truth that words try to conceal. They reveal the true nature of a person, a situation, or even your own repeated experiences. A person who constantly finds themselves in relationships where they are disrespected must look past the words exchanged and examine the recurring theme. Someone who repeatedly experiences financial struggle, despite working hard and setting goals, must recognize the deeper pattern at play. These patterns are not coincidences. They are reflections of what has been accepted as normal. No amount of words can override a deeply ingrained pattern, because the pattern is the force shaping reality. People may apologize repeatedly, saying they will do better next time, but if the same mistakes keep happening, their words are empty. The only real truth is found in consistent action. A person who genuinely wants to change will not need to convince you with words. Their actions will shift naturally. Yet many continue to fall for words because they want to believe them, ignoring the evidence that patterns provide. This is why many find themselves stuck in cycles of disappointment, because they focus on what is said rather than what is demonstrated over time. Recognizing patterns requires stepping back and seeing the bigger picture. If you experience the same types of betrayals, the same letdowns, or the same conflicts, no matter how different the circumstances appear, It is not random. There is a deeper assumption within you that is drawing these experiences into your life. People assume that they are simply unlucky or that life is unfair, but the reality is that patterns are self-perpetuating. Until they are acknowledged and changed at the root, they will continue to manifest in different forms, but with the same results. It is not only others whose patterns you must recognize, but also your own. If you react the same way to conflict, handle relationships in the same manner, or avoid certain risks out of fear, then you are repeating the same inner script, expecting a different outcome. People often assume that changing external factors, moving to a new city, finding a new job, entering a new relationship, will alter their reality. But unless the internal pattern shifts, the same situations will reappear, just with different faces and settings. You cannot escape your own patterns by running from them. They will follow you until you consciously break the cycle. This is why self-awareness is crucial. If you want to know why certain experiences keep happening, look at the patterns in your life. The same challenges arise, not because the world is against you, but because your inner state is being reflected outwardly. This is not about blame, but about understanding the silent forces at work beneath the surface. When you recognize the pattern, you gain the power to change it. If you continue to focus on words and ignore patterns, you will remain stuck in cycles that seem beyond your control. Most people rely on spoken words to navigate their relationships and decisions, yet words can be deceptive. Promises are made but rarely kept, explanations are given but do not match reality, and excuses are spoken to cover the truth. But patterns cannot lie. When you observe the consistent behaviors of people, you begin to see their true essence. The person who constantly finds a way to hurt you, even while claiming they never meant to, is revealing their nature through their actions. The person who continually disappoints you, even after assuring you things will be different, is exposing a pattern that will not change unless they decide to break it. Understanding this principle frees you from deception. You no longer get caught up in what people say, but instead focus on what they repeatedly do. You no longer believe in temporary changes when the larger pattern remains unchanged. Most importantly, you begin to recognize your own role in the patterns of your life, giving you the power to shift them entirely. Words are noise, but patterns are truth. When you learn to see patterns instead of words, you begin to understand life at a much deeper level. The way you see others is not a reflection of who they are, but a projection of your own assumptions. People do not act independently of your beliefs about them. They conform to the image you hold within your mind. If you assume someone is dishonest, you will find evidence to support that belief. If you assume someone is kind and trustworthy, their actions will mirror that expectation. This is not about wishful thinking or forcing people to change. It is about understanding the power of perception. The world around you is not separate from your mind. It is shaped by the assumptions you carry within. Every relationship in your life is influenced by the beliefs you hold. If you expect conflict, it will arise. If you expect understanding, it will manifest. This is why two people can have entirely different experiences with the same individual, because each sees them through the lens of their own assumptions. One person may find a friend to be supportive and kind, while another sees the same friend as selfish and distant. The difference is not in the person, but in the assumptions projected onto them. The world does not show you an objective reality. It shows you what you have assumed to be true. Most people try to change others by demanding different behavior, using force or withdrawing their presence as punishment. But these methods fail because they address only the surface, not the deeper cause. The external world is a reflection of the internal world, and if the internal assumption remains unchanged, the same behavior will persist. If you believe someone will always let you down, they will continue to do so, no matter what you say or how you react. If you shift your assumption and see them as reliable, their actions will begin to reflect that change. It is not about ignoring reality or pretending things are different than they are. It is about recognizing that what you call reality is simply a reflection of your consciousness. If you have always assumed people take advantage of you, then you will find yourself surrounded by those who do. But if you shift that assumption and believe that people treat you with respect, your experience of others will transform. This is not coincidence or luck. It is the law of consciousness at work. People unconsciously fulfill the roles you have assigned them through your inner dialogue and expectations. You may have noticed that when you expect the worst from someone, they rarely disappoint that expectation. If you assume a family member will be rude at a gathering, you approach them with that expectation already active, and they respond accordingly. But the opposite is also true. When you hold the assumption that someone is kind, loving, and understanding, you begin to interact with them differently. You listen without suspicion, you react with patience, and in return they feel safe to respond with warmth. People sense the energy of your assumptions, whether you speak them aloud or not, and they act accordingly. This is why change must begin within. If you want better relationships, you must first change how you perceive others. Instead of seeing someone as difficult and unchangeable, assume they are capable of kindness and growth. Instead of believing that someone is indifferent toward you, assume they care deeply. The shift does not happen instantly, but as you persist in your new assumption, their behavior will begin to align with your belief. They are not changing because you are forcing them to. They are responding to the shift in energy that your consciousness has created. You have done this unconsciously your entire life. You have shaped the behavior of others without realizing it by reinforcing assumptions through repeated thoughts and expectations. If you reflect on past experiences, you will see that the way people treated you was often in perfect alignment with the way you assumed they would. Now, with awareness, you can take control of this power. Instead of allowing negative assumptions to dictate your experiences, you can deliberately choose to see people differently. The moment you accept this truth, you step into a new level of responsibility. No longer do you wait for others to change. You change first and they follow. No longer do you react to circumstances as if they are out of your control. You mold them by changing your assumptions. This is not about controlling others, but about recognizing the profound influence your consciousness has over your world. When you change your assumptions, you change the people around you, not by force, but by the silent yet powerful law that governs all of reality. You have been taught to look outside yourself for answers, to seek guidance from others, to wait for circumstances to change before you believe in your own power. But everything you need is already within you. The strength you seek, the clarity you desire, the transformation you long for, it has never been outside of you. The world you see, the experiences you encounter, and the people you attract are all reflections of what is happening within your own consciousness. Nothing appears in your life that does not first exist within your mind. The power that shapes your reality is not in the hands of fate, other people, or external circumstances. It is within you. Most people live their lives as though they are at the mercy of forces beyond their control. They believe luck determines success, that other people have the ability to hurt or heal them, and that the conditions of the world dictate their opportunities. They wait for signs, permission, or the right timing, never realizing that all along, the power to create, to shift, to manifest has been within them. The world does not move independently of your thoughts and beliefs. It conforms to the energy you send out. The moment you accept this, you stop waiting and start creating. Every thought you entertain, every belief you hold, and every assumption you make is shaping your experience. If you believe you are powerless, life will reflect that belief by presenting you with obstacles, setbacks, and disappointments. If you assume that you are destined for struggle, then struggle will follow you, no matter how hard you try to escape it. But if you shift your awareness and recognize that you hold the power, everything begins to change. Life does not happen to you, it happens through you. You are the source, the cause, and the creator of your reality. When you truly understand that the power is within you, fear begins to dissolve. You no longer see challenges as threats, but as opportunities to exercise your ability to shape reality. You no longer fear what others may say or do, because you know that they are only acting in accordance with the energy you are projecting. You no longer wait for things to improve because you recognize that the shift must first happen within. The external world is only a mirror, and once you change what is being reflected, the image in the mirror must change as well. People spend their entire lives searching for something outside of themselves to give them the confidence, success, and fulfillment they desire. They look to relationships to complete them, money to define them, and circumstances to validate them. But nothing external can provide what is missing internally. If you do not first believe in your own worth, no amount of love or validation from others will ever be enough. If you do not first assume yourself to be abundant, no amount of wealth will make you feel secure. The power to feel complete, worthy, and fulfilled has never been in external things. It has always been within you. Doubt is the only thing that separates you from your own power. The moment you believe that your thoughts are insignificant, that your desires are impossible, or that life is out of your hands, you give away your creative authority. But if you understand that your inner world is the blueprint for your outer reality, you reclaim your power. You begin to direct your thoughts with purpose, to assume the best instead of the worst, to expect success instead of failure. When you change the way you think and feel, the entire world must shift to align with your new state of being. The power within you is not something you must acquire, it is something you must awaken to. It has always been there waiting for you to recognize it. The only reason life has felt unpredictable, uncertain, or out of control is because you have been unaware of your role as the creator. You have been living as though you are separate from the very force that shapes reality. But once you step into the awareness that your thoughts, beliefs, and assumptions dictate your experience, you begin to consciously mold your life rather than unconsciously reacting to it. Everything you seek, peace, love, success, purpose, is already within you. The external world is only a reflection of what you accept as true. If you desire a new reality, you do not need to chase it or force it into existence. You only need to shift your inner world, and the outer world will follow. The power has always been in your hands, waiting for you to claim it.